Welcome to another edition of Africa Sideways. My name's Big Six Simpson, and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 all-terrain tyres for your SUV, pickup and 4x4. These need to be off-road ready, solid sidewalls, good on punctures, ample braking distance on gravel, good tread on serious off-road tracks, but still able to take you to work comfortably on a Monday morning, good braking on tar, looks come into it, and of course price is important in this day and age. So let's get straight into it. Number 10 on my top 10 all-terrain tyres is the Maxxis AT980. Now Maxxis is a tyre that's made in Taiwan. It's not that well known in South Africa, but more further abroad. It's known as a good strong all-terrain tyre. If you look at it, it looks quite similar to the BF Goodridge KO1 and possibly the KO2. Chunky tyre, good tread pattern, more of an off-road bias than an on-road bias with this particular tyre. Gets 4 out of 5 stars on many of the tyre review forums. People say it's got strong sidewalls. They look really cool. I like the white detailing on the side of the tyre. It's basically, to my mind, it's a slight rip-off of the BF Goodridge KO. But if you're going to copy a tyre, not copy a tyre, but if you're going to try and emulate a tyre, that's a good tyre to emulate. It looks good. It's rugged. It's a bit on the pricey side at 3,000 Rand starting price, but you can't really go wrong if you want to take a little bit of a chance on a brand you might not have heard of before. The Maxxis AT980s might just be the tyre for you. Number 9, a tyre that's been making a lot of noise over the last 6 months to a year, and for all the right reasons. The Falken Wildpeaks, one of the cheapest tyres on the list, starting at 1,500 Rand. And it gets very good reviews online thus far. Solid sidewall, good tread pattern, good life of tyre. A solid all-around package, so to speak. It'll be challenging the Goodyear Wrangler and your Dunlops and the Contis and the good grabbers on price. But so far, getting positive feedback from a lot of overlanders. Well, one of the biggest YouTubers in the game, Andrew St. Pierre White's got a set on his new 79 series Land Cruiser, so it's going to be very interesting to see how those particular tyres go. And for now, they're good enough for number 9 on the list, the Falken Wildpeaks. Moving to number 8 on the list, a tyre you may not have heard before, but it's designed for South African and Australian top rural conditions, a lot of gravel roading. Not necessarily the best tyre for serious off-roading, but if you're looking for something for towing, something for your pickup, something for your SUV, with a solid sidewall, you can get about 80 to 100,000 kilometers off a set of these tyres if you rotate them. It's the Michelin LTX Force, which is good enough for number 8 on the list. They start at 2,000 Rand, which makes it one of the most affordable tyres from a company like Michelin. You can't really go wrong with a set of tread like that. And it's a bit of a Michelin party. Coming at number 7, we have a tyre that I always recommend to people who are looking to upgrade their SUV tyres, sort of a mid-size X-Trail, CRV, Freelander, those sort of cars. I'll always say if you're looking for something that's got a great off-road tread, but it's still very quiet. This is on the list. This is probably the quietest tyre on the list. Great handling on tar, and very affordable as well is the Michelin Latitude Cross, which comes in at 1,700 Rand. You're getting that Michelin engineering, trusted tyre, great longevity. You'll be easily get 80,000 to 100,000 Ks off this. Similar to the LTX Force, the Michelin Latitude Cross. It doesn't quite have that hardcore off-road ability to get it into the top 5, but if you're looking for a cheap and cheerful off-road tyre that is designed by arguably the best tyre company in the world, the Michelin Latitude Cross is good enough for number 7 on the list. Moving on to number 6, one of the more expensive tyres on the list, but it just looks cool and it's from a cool company, the Thompson Deegan 38s All Terrain Tyres. Now these are not quite as chunky as the ATXs, but this is sort of a compromise for probably a 70% road tyre, 30% off-road, but it's still got that rock solid Mickey Thompson sidewall, cool tread pattern, nice white writing on the side of the tyre. Not the cheapest tyre in the world, but gets extremely good reviews online. It's a good compromise if you're looking for something that's going to be quiet, easy to drive around the city, but it's still going to have you covered off-road. The Mickey Thompson Deegan 38s, tested in the Baja desert, the ultimate testing ground. Good enough for number 6 on the list. Moving on up to the top 5, and you might be surprised what comes in at 5, but I drove the Ranger Raptor with these tyres a couple of months ago, and I was extremely impressed with them on road. But for all that impressiveness, I mean, I was extremely impressed with them off-road, but for all that off-road prowess, I was very unimpressed with them on-road. Plus, I had twice I had the valves, a bit of a leak on the valves after. The first time was before off-roading and the second time was after off-roading, so they look great. They've got the strongest sidewall in the business. They got the best name in the business, but just on road they feel like absolute dogs, which is the reason why the BF Goodridge All Terrain KO2s coming at number 5 on the list. I must say, off-road the grip is phenomenal. It feels like a really chunky tyre. It's really for somebody that lives on a farm that does 80% off-road work. Then the KO2s are brilliant for you, but if you're just going to put them on your city truck, it doesn't handle as well. It squeaks a lot. They look fantastic. A chunky, sexy tyre, but just not quite good enough to compete with some of the other tyres on the list. Whew. Moving swiftly on to number 4 on the list. A tyre that I have a lot of experience with, but it's a tyre that's on my car. It's won several all-terrain shootouts over the last couple of years. It won the drive-out shootouts with the top 6 all-terrain tyres in South Africa. It came out with the second strongest sidewall, but behind the BF Goodridge. See, now you got that solid sidewall. Braking distance on gravel and tar is good, and they're affordable. They're starting at 1,500 rand. To my mind, the best all-around package of price is really a consideration for you. Braking distance is fantastic. I had a set of highway tyres on before, and putting these on transformed my X-Trail from a mommy's wagon into something that's quite capable off-road. And for that reason, it gets to number 4 on the list. It doesn't quite have the sexy looks of some of the other tyres on this list. And yeah, I mean, for me that's the only reason in terms of, and the tread pattern. I preferred the old ATX Wranglers. They had a bit more of a chunky tread pattern. This looks like they've trying to go a little bit towards the highway tyre as opposed to a more rugged all-terrain tyre. But having said that, it's got Kevlar sidewall. It's still a very strong tyre. It's a good compromise if you only go wheeling on the weekends. You're mainly driving 80-90% on tar, and you want a very strong tyre for the weekends, but you're going to be spending a lot of time on the tar during the week. Very quiet tyre, good braking distance, a safe tyre, and backed by a reputable company like Goodyear, I think, which gives 60,000 kilometer guarantee on the tread. You cannot go wrong. Which gets into number 4, the Goodyear Wrangler All-Terrain Adventure. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is getting tight now. Top 3 all-terrain tyres in the world according to me. I'm sure you got your own ideas. This is very subjective. Let me know in the comments below if I've missed anything out. Number 3 on the list is another Michelin. You might be asking why there 3 Michelins on a top 10. Because they make great tyres, that's why. And for that reason, the Michelin LTX All-Terrain comes in at number 3. It looks great. It's got the nice writing on the side. You can get 100,000 kilometers tread life out of this thing if you treat them right. The owner of Elgin 4x4, a bit of a legend, Willie, has got a set of these on his disco. I think he's got a Disco 2 and he raves about these tyres. So if somebody owns a 4x4 track, uses them every day, towing people out of God knows where, you got the Michelin build quality. The treads is probably, I'd say, about 60% tar, 40% off-road. So it's not on serious off-roading. You'd rather be in the BF Goodridge or the Coopers, but for weekend warriors, overlanding trips away, the LTX has certainly got you covered. You might be asking, how do they get ahead of the BF Goodridges? Well, far better on road, not as noisy, and for the amount of off-road ability you lose on these tires is pretty negligible, and it's worth the cheaper price. They come in at 2,400 Rand. Longer tread life. Sidewalls aren't quite as strong, so if you're looking for a very, very rugged tyre, BF Goodrich Cooper. But if you're looking for possibly the best all-rounder, this and the Goodyear Wranglers, Michelin LTXs. Coming in at number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very tight, but somebody's got to be number 2, and ultimately somebody's got to be number 1. This particular tyre looks sexy, great off-road ability. It's not the cheapest, but if you want to be in top 2, I don't care. Tried and tested on North America's toughest off-road rally, the Baja 500. I think you know what I'm talking about. The Mickey Thompson Baja ATXs. Sexy looking tyre, great off-road tread, solid sidewall, would look perfect on your pickup or four-wheel drive. Not the cheapest tyre at 3,500 Rand, but who cares? We're talking about the best of the best here. And with a name like Mickey Thompson, it just rolls off the tongue. It's not like every Tom, Dick and Harry's got the BF Goodridges. Especially in South Africa, you got a little bit of uniqueness, plenty of sex appeal, plenty of off-road ability. Looks great on Jeeps, looks great on Land Cruisers, which is good enough to get it to number 2 on the list. The Mickey Thompson Baja ATZ. Or Z if you're in America. And there has to be number 1 on the list. You probably thought it was going to be the BF Goodridge KR2s. You might have thought it would be the Mickey Thompsons. You might have thought it might be the Wranglers. You might have thought the Jewelers had a chance. Number 1, in my opinion, can only be the Cooper Discover AT3 XLT. Great tyre for big SUVs, 4x4s, pickup trucks. Cooper, tried and tested. They fit Coopers on a lot of 4x4 rental vehicles, but they need solid tyres. They're going to have a great tread life, good after sales backup, and superior build quality. That's why people like Paul Marsh only use BFG and Cooper on their trucks they make, and there's a reason for that, because they are rock solid tyres you can trust. When you're in the middle of nowhere and you can't afford a puncture, you certainly can't afford 2 punctures. So for me, and they look sensational. Sure, that it's quite a rugged tread, and it's probably more of an 80% off-road tyre than a street tyre. Cooper do have a more of the standard All Terrain Tyre is a bit more of a street-based bias tyre, which also gets fantastic reviews. But if I was to say, if you're going to look for the Rolls Royce of tyres, you're only going to be looking for Rolls Royce off-road tyres. You've got 3 choices. You got your Cooper, you got your Mickey Thompson, and you got your BF Goodridge. I wouldn't really be looking much further than that. And if you want something that's more of a slightly more of a street bias type, but it's also very strong, the Goodyear Wranglers. And you cannot forget the Michelin LTXs, because they're a great all-terrain, all-around tyre, but on serious off-roading it cannot compete with your likes of your Cooper AT3s and your Goodyear Wranglers. Having said that, you cannot go wrong with any of the tyres on this list. They're all fantastic tyres. I must give a special mention to the Yokohama Geolander all-terrains. The new ones are definitely a fast upgrade on the old ones. My brother had a set on his Forester about 10-15 years ago, and he would get punctures just mounting the pavement, you know. on a recent sidewall strength test, it came out just behind the Wranglers on sidewall strength, and the Wranglers have got Kevlar sidewalls, so they've definitely improved on the Goodyear, on the Yokohama Geolanders, but still in the back of my mind I think of those old Geolanders that had weak sidewalls, and for that reason it doesn't make the top 10. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Leave your comments below. Have I missed anything out? Is there something a little bit crazy on this list that has no business on this list? Or do you like the list? Please like and subscribe. If you're feeling generous, donate, and we'll catch you next time on Africa Sideways.